Welcome to Foundation Friday. The dedication and covenant of silent unity was signed on December 7th, 1892 by Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, founders of the Unity movement. It is unlikely when they signed this covenant that they had any idea how far-reaching unity would be as it evolved into the church we know and love today. We invite you to join us as we explore and share some of the original ideas, teachings, and writings of the men and women who created the foundation of the Unity Church.
Hi there. Thank you for joining us for Foundation Friday. Today we are going to explore Lesson 7 in Awakening Grace. The entire program can be found on truthunity.net. And if you haven't been viewing the Awakening Grace videos, please look us up on YouTube, find our channel, and they're numbered 1 through, and this one is number 7. And we hope you will enjoy this program. So today, for Awakening Grace Lesson 7, we're going to start with blocks in consciousness that resist the activity of grace. The first one is negative thinking resulting from human perceptions or by judging on appearances. The second block is insistence of even exchange all the time. And what that means is what's mine is mine and what's yours is yours. And they always have to be equal. So if I give you this, you have to give me that. And that's definitely a block in consciousness. When I'm in grace, when I'm in that state of grace, I know that my grace, my being, my abundance is not contingent on anyone else's. I know that if you have more than me, that doesn't lessen what I have. When I open my consciousness, I will have all that I can use and need, regardless of what anyone else has. So that even exchange, they have to be the same, actually limits our grace, our expanding consciousness. The next one is the belief that we of ourselves must do all the work. We know that when we hang on too tight, we actually block the natural flow of the universe. And when we let God in, we have just opened to the vastness of all that is. But we can feel like we have to control it, that we're the only one that can do it. And if we let ourselves be in that consciousness, we're actually limiting ourselves to just what one little tiny person is able to be and do instead of opening to all that is. The next one and the last one we're looking for in this lesson is the fear that the will of God might cause us some pain and suffering. I have seen this again and again. People are afraid that God's will for us is somehow worse than what our will for us is. And that's an impossibility. It's a mistaken belief that can limit us. God does not will for us pain and suffering. As a matter of fact, pain and suffering are not of the divine at all. They come from other places, from limiting ourselves and for not being in the divine. Okay, so now we're going to step into methods for self-help. And, luckily this is on video. If I go too fast, stop it, write these down, or find them on the website. It says, do this every day until you feel yourself transformed. Make a list of as many negative attitudes and thoughts you can remember having during the day. Write out an affirmation full, graceful truth that will replace each negative remembrance. Meditate on each affirmation with feeling. Okay, let me give you an example for that. And this is random. Yours are going to be different, but an example might help. So if you're making a list of negative attitudes and the attitude is you don't like the way that your boss talked to you, you did not feel appreciated. So you're writing that out, that your boss talked down to you and you didn't feel appreciated. So how do I turn that into a positive affirmation? It might be something like my worth is pure in God, regardless of what other people think. That might be your positive affirmation. Or your affirmation might be, I love my boss and see them, or see the Christ within them beyond their attitudes and what they bring up in me. So the affirmation would be, I love my boss and see the Christ in them, regardless of the triggers they bring up in me. Okay, just a thought on how to make affirmations. So the next method for self-help is make a list of the actions and attitudes you have had during the day that insist on even exchange. We talked about that kind of tit for tat. What attitude or action could you have engaged in that would have eliminated even exchanged and called forth grace? Write the grace attitude or action and visualize yourself redoing and rethinking from the consciousness of grace. Okay, so I'm going to give you another example. If someone got a promotion over me and I've been there longer, I might feel like I was treated unfairly. That was not an even exchange. You got one up over me. So how can I write and believe a positive, grace-filled affirmation from that? It might be that my worth is not contingent on your success. So your success hasn't diminished me. And that might be an affirmation that I want to write. It might be God's good is coming to each of us as it is for our highest good, or divine spirit blesses each of us divinely, might be your positive affirmation if you're suffering with that even limitation. So here's the next one. Make a list of all the ways you insisted on doing all the work today. Make a list of the ways you could have accomplished the same work, or perhaps even more work, if you had been conscious that it was the grace of God within you doing the work. In your imagination, visualize God doing the work through you. So make a list of all the ways that you found yourself taking control or assuming control. You had to do all the work. You had to do it all. When I was a young housewife with two small children, I felt that way all the time, that I had to do all the work. When I finally evolved to a point in grace where I could see God doing the work through me, all of a sudden I had plenty of energy. I didn't have any resentments. I had more time to play with the kids because I didn't have to do all the work. God was doing the work through me. So that's number 3. Here's number 4. Affirm every day, as many times as you can remember to do it, thy will is my will. Thy will be done through me this day. At the end of each day, make a list of any feelings associated with this statement. Was there any fear? If so, write out what you know to be the truth about God's will. Reaffirm the statements of God's will being your will until you feel a deep sense of peace, joy, trust, and excitement about the will of God being done in your life. So now we have a couple of lessons about will and grace. These are taken from different books. The first one is from the book Celebrate Yourself by Eric Butterworth. God's will is another confused religious term, the understanding of which will help us to understand grace. The will of God is ceaseless longing of the Creator to fulfill himself in as that which he has created. This will or creative intention is so great that it even seeps through one's willfully closed mind. Okay, now we're going to go through some lessons on will and grace, and these are from some of the books of Unity teachings. This first one is from the book Celebrate Yourself by Eric Butterworth. God's will is another confused religious term, the understanding of which will help us to understand grace. The will of God is the ceaseless longing of the Creator to fulfill himself in and as that which he has created. This will or creative intention is so great that it even seeps through one's willfully closed mind. And the next one is from the 12 Powers of Man by Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity. Some Christians believe that God's will towards men varies, that his will changes, that he chastises the disobedient and punishes the wicked. He, Jesus, bore witness that the will of God is that men should not suffer, that through him they should have complete escape from sin, sickness, and even death. The sin, sickness, suffering, and death that men experience are not punishments willed by God. They are the result of broken divine law. And this is also from the 12 Powers of Man by Charles Fillmore. When we have resolved to be attentive to the voice of the Father and to do his will at any cost, we are freed from bondage of all man-made laws. The will of God is absolute good. God's will contains no pain or suffering, lack or limitation. The greatest prayer that can ever be spoken is, "Thy will be done." This prayer of the heart always brings healing, harmony, abundance, peace of mind, pure guidance, and so on. The only prayer Jesus gave us is the Lord's Prayer, and it contains the words, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done." It is the only prayer we need. It is full of grace and truth. And this is from John 6:38 through 40. For I have come down from heaven, not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me. And this is the will of him who sent me, that I should lose nothing of all that he has given for me. For this is the will of my Father, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him should have eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. Okay, there you have it. This is lesson number 7 in Awakening Grace. And here we've looked at some serious blocks to allowing that grace awaken and work through us, as well as the methods for overcoming those blocks that we can work on every day as we awaken the grace within us. But before we leave, please know you matter. You are sacred, and you are so, so very loved. Namaste.
Thank you for joining us, and let's stay connected and grow in spirit. We are on Facebook. Search for Unity Church of El Cajon and follow us and like our posts. You can reach us on YouTube at Unity Church of El Cajon. Please subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, and leave comments which can help us improve. We are on the web at unityofelcajon.org. Email or call our church office to receive our weekly newsletters, which lists all of our activities and opportunities to learn and grow together.